Well, hello, brother friends and sister friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Heart Set Above podcast, where we seek to have a heart set above in a world so far from Eden. Today, we're going to talk about the relational cost of judgment. You know, my son was recently diagnosed with autism, and we've been processing this for a while. And although we're in a better place with it now, the beginning was really rough. When we first started down this path, I had a lot of grief and fear to work through. Truthfully, my biggest worries were around connection and the future. I wondered, will we be able to truly express and receive love from our son in a way that makes sense to both us and him? And I worried, will he have the ability to live the life that he wants to live? Will he be able to go to college, get married, play sports, or travel if he chooses? These were the fears that lived in my heart from the beginning, and if I'm being honest, still plague me sometimes. But as we began sharing our journey with others, new worries started creeping in, specifically around judgment. I worried that people might see our son as different and miss who he really is. I also feared that others might judge my husband and me as parents. And truthfully, I still feel a low level of worry sometimes when we're in public, at school, or even at church. We've had our fair share of judgmental stares when our son doesn't respond when being spoken to, or when he's a little too loud or erratic for other people's liking. And while those judgmental stares can sting, I can brush them off a little more easily as they come. They don't know us or our situation well enough for those opinions to carry too much weight. But I was more worried about judgment from those closest to us, specifically my dad. After all, he's not some stranger or an acquaintance who doesn't know us or our situation well. That's someone who knows us, who loves us, and who still could judge us. That seemed to be a bit more of a threat than judgmental stares or comments from someone at church or a friend in our community. You see, growing up, my dad would sometimes share his opinions on how other people handled challenging situations, as we all tend to do, and often in front of our children. And though I really believe that these opinions stemmed from his great love and care for and desire to protect others, sometimes these opinions came out as critical and judgmental. And so when we found out that our son probably has autism, I immediately remembered some of those comments that my dad had made decades earlier about a family from church when we were growing up that had a child with special needs. I would hear things like, that behavior isn't an ADHD problem, it's a parenting problem. And ADHD isn't an excuse for a lack of discipline. Now, although there was truth in what my dad said back then, that even children with special needs require godly and thoughtful parenting, the way he expressed it lacked the humility and compassion needed when encountering others who live or struggle differently than we do. And so when I was a child, this instilled in me a general sense of unease, as if there was a clear right way to live and parent, and that I might fail to live up to this standard in my dad's eyes. But now, navigating life as a parent of a child with autism, those memories cut even deeper. Even though I knew that my dad wasn't that guy anymore and had grown immensely over the past 25 years in his walk with God, becoming more compassionate and less judgmental, and even though I was confident in his love for me and my family, I still found myself avoiding certain situations and conversations with him. I feared he'd see me as inadequate or too lenient if my son didn't follow directions or had a hard day, all because of passing comments that he made decades ago. Now, thankfully, I was able to talk to my dad about it. We had a meaningful conversation where connection was restored. But this experience convicted me of something deeper. Judgment has a long reach. Even a single comment made in passing can create walls that last for decades. Judgment steals safety from relationships. Judgment steals safety from relationships. It erodes connection. It creates walls where there should be closeness. And in that disconnect, it sows seeds of insecurity and fear. The irony was hard to face. I had feared judgment from my father, yet I'm guilty of the same sin in my own life. How many relationships have I unintentionally hurt with my own quick opinions? How many of those closest to me might second guess sharing something tender with me because of something that I've thoughtlessly said in passing? How many loved ones have hesitated to be real with me, worried about encountering my critical opinions? And how many connections have I robbed of safety because of my own pride? It was as if the prophet Nathan was standing before me, echoing his words to David, "You are that woman." The realization struck me like a brick to the chest. I had done the same to those dearest to me without even realizing it. Now, I'm not suggesting that we stop sharing our opinions altogether. Expressing our perspective is essential for genuine, authentic connection with our loved ones. But let's take time to reflect first. Remember, God tells us to be slow to speak. Let's ensure that we share these perspectives in a way that aligns with how our faith calls us to live and love and engage with others. Here are some questions to consider as you share your opinions with others. Does this opinion put me or God in the judgment seat? Does this opinion stem from love and humility or pride and superiority? What purpose does sharing this opinion serve? Where can I empathize with this person, even if we disagree? Where can I express my humility, leaving room for my own imperfections in this opinion? So, brother friends and sister friends, my encouragement to you today is this: don't let judgment steal safety from your relationships. Don't let pride erode your connection with others. Share your thoughts, but do it from a place of humility, compassion, and love. Let your words build bridges, not walls. And if your heart's motivation is connection, not correction, it'll show in the words and the tone that you use, even if you have differing opinions.